Joining us now for this month's Outside Looking In segment, British Chamber of Commerce's Chris Nelson. Hi, Chris. Always good to see you. Finally, we have you on the show. Hey.
Good morning, or good afternoon, sorry to everybody there. Yeah, I'm fine. Pleased to be here.
All right.
And obviously looking forward to hearing your questions and discussing what's going forward.
We've got a lot of things to unpack today, but I want to start with this interesting read I had this morning about Britain's hedgehog economy, where growth is wild, spiky, and fragile. I mean, we know that the Brits like the hedgehog, but to have your growth chart resemble it is pretty amazing. I mean, what is the sense that you're getting from executives and C-levels about their view on the global economy and its impact on the UK economy? Let's not forget, a lot of the headlines about the UK economy is about Britain slowly going bust.
Yeah, so first of all, yes, we do love the hedgehog. So I just want to reinforce that comment. I would just like to make the point that the UK economy grew in the first quarter 0.7%. Actually, that makes it the fastest for that quarter in the G7. The question is to sustain that growth. If you look at, obviously, the challenges going out, and that's been referred to in some of your reports in the programme, just yesterday, the EU is now talking about tariffs on the steel industry. Tariffs as a whole, of course, driven from the US as an overlanding across the world. That's why people are looking also at other trading areas. In terms of optimism, I think what executives in our engagement are looking at is what are the opportunities in other areas. And I think in that context, the Philippines and Southeast Asia stands up. I've been in discussions with Martin Kent, who is the Trade Commissioner for the UK, covering in Asia Pacific. And he mentioned the point that obviously growth for UK trade in the APAC area is growing strongly. They're looking to develop based on the UK's industrial strategy. So that's all good news. But what we need to do is to see sustained growth and to move from being a hedgehog to, I don't know, one of our other animals which flies higher.
All right. But here's the thing. There's a lot of undercurrents happening in the politics for UK. There was a speech during the Tories' annual conference in Manchester this Wednesday where there was a saying that half of all the savings identified by a future Tory administration will now be used to reduce Britain's deficit after the national debt soared to almost, 100% of the size of the UK economy in recent years. Now, under this new golden rule, the other half will then be directed toward tax cuts or spending. Are you feeling bullish about the UK economy in general?
Yeah, in general we are. I mean, I think first of all, maybe you got to look at the fact that it's not just the UK. I mean, France has got a lot of challenges in this context in terms of debt to GDP. And that's a reflection, I would say, across a lot of Western Europe. It's a reflection, of course, candidly, of aging populations, the need to see how you can stimulate. I think what the UK government has looked at is, particularly with its industrial strategy plan, to focus on 8 key sector areas, in particular, things like energy, new energy. As you know, there's a lot of support from the UK, and they'll be looking at those opportunities. We've had a recent event here, and that was clearly outlining the UK's interest in renewable energy. So I think that will help assist and drive growth. And let me just say also, the current government has put in the forefront that it wants to see trade and investment, which I think is very good, particularly for the UK and the Philippines. And again, I would just remind, which we discussed before, that next year will be the 80th year of diplomatic relations to the countries, and we continue to see growth in the trade between the two areas.
All right. Before we get to UK investments here in the Philippines and our trade numbers, I wonder, I'm sure that you have been watching closely, monitoring the flood control scandal. To what extent would you say is this corruption scandal turning away investors, your investors, to Manila? Are you starting to see concrete plans being put on the shelves or in the back burner because they're just so worried about doing business here?
No, we've not seen that yet. I think it's obviously developed rapidly, and as we've seen, every day these stories are being covered in terms of the floodgate corruption, the allegations, and there are going to be further developments. I think the concern, so first of all, I think number one, our investors are looking at what opportunities there are. How are we doing to ease the doing of business? How we're opening up the economy? I think we're very pleased to see the 99-year lease extension was passed. We're very pleased to see the E-Governance Act was passed. What we want to see, of course, is the IRR of those. I think our concern as a chamber, also representing our members, is what's the impact to government work, legislation in particular. Would be concerned and highlight, for example, we'd like to see the Cybersecurity Act passed. We've been advocating for this. This is a major challenge. The UK has suffered from some recent, very significant cybersecurity acts, and therefore we want to see that act passed, and that would be a concern. The other one I'd highlight as a potential concern going forward is what's going to happen to obviously government spending in projects which are obviously needed. We have to see some of those are being realigned. So in summary, Mimi, I don't think yet, obviously people are following this closely. What we want to see is more opening of the economy, further discussion and focus on that. And of course, the concern for me is, will legislation, which is a priority and has been identified by Ladakh, such as cybersecurity, get passed?
And speaking of concrete investments, great to know that the UK's Mobilist is one of the cornerstone investors in Maynilad's upcoming IPO, very much awaited. Aside from, I remember last month we did share the good news that a UK pharma company has agreed to put billions of pesos on the table to invest in the Philippines, in a hub here. Are there other names, other UK companies that are looking at seriously putting money here?
Yeah, so the one you're referring to is AstraZeneca, who's one of
Correct.
our members, and congratulations. And they're
That's
investing
a 7 billion
in the
peso investment, right?
Correct. And that's actually being done in the PEZA, one of the PEZA zone areas. I just want to highlight the point that since our the PEZA investment forum held in London, which was held with ourselves, with HSBC, I like to say that I've been in touch, obviously, with Director General Panga, and there has been further investments or further indications from UK companies investing in the key areas, such as pharmaceuticals, such as in the new energy areas. So that's all, I think, good, and we can expect to see, as it's highlighted in our energy event, further activity, particularly in the renewable energy section. You've just highlighted today, of course, the investments that are going to go on in terms of developing, in terms of, I think, the energy projects that were announced by Secretary Guerin and the President Marcos. So I think these are all good developments. As we've reiterated, we have to keep that up. I shall be going again to London next week, actually. I'll be traveling there. I'm looking to see also our partners at the Philippine Embassy, and also one of our partners there, which is the Philippine British Business Council, who are led by the chair there in the UK is Joe Miro. And they're looking to also have a trade mission coming out, as I understand it, in March next year. So these are interesting developments. And we need to keep that momentum going. And we can only do that with further engagements.
Chris, I was actually going over some historic numbers. I think we have a graphics chart of this, of UK outflow FDIs. If we could just flash it, I hope you could see it. Outflows, FDIs. The latest number was from 2023, and this was released in May of 2025. The chart will actually show you that from 2021 through 2023, the investments went down. Are we expecting your outflow investments to pick up for 2025 and for 2026?
I think so. I mean, we've heard indications, so I can't see the graph myself currently, but I think that will happen. I think it's also an indication of course, how does economies grow? If you look back to 2023, 24 was probably some domestic recovery. Of course, everyone was recovering after COVID. I think also it depends on how interest rates have gone. As we've seen interest rates, Bank of England has reduced. The Federal Reserve has also reduced. We have to see if that momentum will continue. But I just want to reiterate that the current government's focus is on growth. It's on particular trade and investment, and that has been reinforced. Recently, there was a visit here by Charles Hay from the FCDO office. And of course, we have our ambassador designated here, Sarah Holton. And I think all of that will grow forward. Yes, I can see the chart now, thank you very much.
Actually, this chart is from the UK Parliament Office. It really shows you out of the total UK outward FDI flows, 35.5 billion pounds. There you go. 10.9 went to UK offshore islands, followed by the USA, which is the second biggest destination, 6.6 billion. Germany at 6.4. Singapore, Spain, France, Finland, Hong Kong is up there, 3.8 in the top 10. Rounding out the top 10, South Africa and Bermuda. Hopefully the Philippines will make it to this list soon, right?
I'm very optimistic. Well, and let's not forget, UK offshore islands could be places like the Cayman Islands, of course, then can reinvest into other areas. Okay. But I do think that the Philippines is getting a lot of focus, but we need to keep that up. I cannot stress enough, we have to keep up the momentum. In that context, we need to keep on driving the changes that have been happening here. As I said, we welcome e-governance. We also welcome the Open Transmission Act. And on the same time, I must reinforce that we need to get legislation such as cybersecurity. This is a major concern. The UK has a lot of strength in this area. We're having an event next week. Our two member companies, CyberQ and NCCC, will be there. And I think this is an area of key focus, and this is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So there you go.
Chris, you're very busy, but you have been busy. But I know on a more personal level, you've also been busy with the Camino. Just very quickly, on a more personal level, we feel so close to you. We talk to each other every month. How was your Camino experience? I think we have some photos of you doing the Camino, right? You did it through Spain. The Spain route.
Correct. Yes. I hope you can show the pictures. Yes, we did it from Tui. There you go. Look, I'm entering Spain. That's my wife with the sombrero, Chacha, and my good friend Nick. We went from Tui. Here is the cathedral in Compostela, Santiago, where obviously the pilgrims go. We did a different, there are various routes. We did 130 kilometers in 6 days. Yes, it was one of our key desires. I was very pleased to do it. I was also very pleased when it finished. The last day was 27 kilometers, but congratulations. It was a great experience. And I'd just like to point out there are many, many pilgrims and walkers on that route. And people do a much longer distance than I did, but I was very happy, and I just have to congratulate my wife as usual for actually doing all the arrangements. And
congratulations to you, Chris. 130 kilometers in 6 days. One final question. No need to explain, just an answer. So what was the reflection that you reached doing this Camino? There must be some, reflection there. What did you realize? What did you learn?
I actually realized, which I think for I'm a very lucky person. I'm very lucky that I was able to do it, and I'm very lucky that at my age, I'm 66, that I'm able to actually continue, and I hope to do another one.
And
that was my reflection.
And on that note, to Lucky Chris, thank you for this interview. We'll see you next month, hopefully with more of the interesting topics that we can cover, all right? We'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you very much, Mimi, and thanks to all your viewers, and have a very good day, everybody else. Bye-bye.
All right. Time now for a quick break.